Hello viewers, this week I'm going to be showing a bit of a chess game that I played. I'm actually going to be showing two games. One of them really good, one of them really bad. Yeah, I'm trying to work on Man and Artifice stuff, but I'm falling a little bit behind, so I figured I'd just throw this together. Either way, here we go. So we start this game with the Queen's Pawn opening, and then I set up my King's Indian setup. Yeah, so this is the King's Indian setup. You just castle on that side. And now I'm ready to get going. My opponent is playing a London opening, where they have that kind of setup, and it's just a very solid opening in which they kind of have a bunch of stuff. So I just started pushing forward, just trying to take up space, kind of hoping for a bit of an exchange there, but they then push forward the pawn. And I was like, okay, I don't like that pawn. I'm going to let them do that, so then I get my bishop out there. Probably start doing some attacks over here or something like that. Actually, that would have been a very bad attack, but I'd get my bishop out from being stuck behind this pawn line. But he ignored it, which the engine doesn't like. Neither do I. So I just like, okay, you know what? It's occurring to me that pawn was not defended by anything, so I'm going to protect that for obvious reasons. So he castled, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to pin this pawn. So then if takes, I win a bishop. Well, actually, it's defended, so I actually don't remember my plan here, huh? Either way, he pushes forward the pawn. I was like, actually, you know what? I've got a better idea. Instead of doing this weird pawn trading shenanigans, I'm just going to attack his bishop. So he puts the bishop there. I push forward the pawn. He retreats the bishop. I push forward the stuff, do that, and I just attack the bishop again. I honestly don't remember what my plan was here, but I believe that my plan was eventually to get the knight here to attack this more in control bishop, but I instead just directly trade off the bishop, damaging his pawn structure, and kind of hoping at some point he'd mess something up. So I put my knight forward towards the center, just doing shenanigans. He pushed forward that pawn, not sure why, so he started doing stuff. I moved the rook over, to prepare pushing forward that pawn, to have a little trade here. Although, slight problem. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, not that. 4. 1, 2. Yeah. Either way. So he puts the knight there, actually, which does kind of put a target there that I can attack in the future. But I'm starting to just rotate this knight off to the side. We're going to make it no longer be stuck in the back. And he did that queen move, which interesting. I put the knight back here. Oh yeah, I was gonna start doing a attack on this side here to try to attack his king. Either way, the engine is very much not happy with me. So either way, he pushed forward this pawn, and I pulled a trick from his book and just completely ignored it. Instead opting to put the bishop there, move forward this pawn, and then I'm attacking this knight because this knight is a very, fun thing to attack. So he took the pawn there, I took there, hello there, and then he put the queen there. Which the engine agrees with me in saying, what is the point behind doing that? Either way, so I attack the knight. It is defended by the bishop. And so now he has to move the knight out of the way. So at this point, this knight is just attacking this pawn. So he's threatening to win that pawn. So I then was like, you know what? My rook does not need to be out here. Hello there. So he moved the bishop there. And yeah. That's a free pawn. And actually also a free bishop. So he has to defend it. And that the engine sees something fancy that I don't. Actually, oh, that was the engine's move. So I win that pawn. At some point in the future, I can win that pawn. Assuming the bishop just says to go away. And so, now, he then was like, okay, I won the pawn! I could trade off the bishop for the knight at this point, but if I'm being completely honest, it really does not matter. So I moved the rook over here. Because, if you look, that knight can't move. Because if you were to move, the king dies. So that's called a pinned piece. So he's like, aha, I'm going to attack you on this side. I'm like, okay, goodbye, knight-o. He's like, I'm going to attack over here. I'm not sure. I assume that his idea was takes, and then, oh no, my queen. Except the thing is, I kind of don't like my queen being there in the first place. So I take, and he takes with the pawn for some reason. So he spent the move preparing that, and then just does not move that over. Either way, so I move the queen over anyways, actually, because I'm now threatening to win a knight. He does that, which is annoying because he's not threatening to win a pawn, and I put him in check. He moves over to there. So now this is a bit of a soft piece there. If I were to attack it a little bit more, some fun stuff could happen. But I decide to first defend the pawn, and now he attacks the knight, which I don't quite understand. This knight is kind of stranded at the edge of the board, and this bishop is actually doing wonders at keeping this pawn alive. But, you know, feel free to give away the bishop. And actually, at some point, I did notice that that is a possibility, except for the fact that the queen can attack diagonally. So, either way, I'm just rotating the knight up. The engine does not like me. Again, it's fine. So he does that. Which, I don't need to be a data analyst to know that if you move a piece 2 times to attack a piece that is still on its home square, that's not a good idea. So I do that trade, because now, another free pawn, and this pawn is not defended. So if I, like, move sideways here, I win this pawn. And then he... Oh, actually, I move the knight. Yeah. I forget why. Oh, yeah, to defend that. So then I could do that. And then just start winning these juicy little pawns. At this point, he resigned, which honestly makes sense. There is a 6-point advantage for me at this point, despite the fact that I am only 2 points ahead, which I just find to be absolutely bonkers. And so this is actually going to be the other game. Very much the bad one. So I am doing another King's Indian setup, because that's like the only opening I know is the black pieces. So I immediately start with a blunder. You can see here, before with the King's Indian setup, I had the pawn there to prevent that pawn movement forward. Now the problem is, I can't move it forward because of the knight, and I can't move it here because of the queen, but I can move it here. I actually can't because, you know, the queen's attacking there. So you guys can see 4-point advantage for my opponent because that pawn movement. Where's that knight going to go? Yeah. And my own bishop blocks the knight. So I lose a knight. So I just push forward that pawn. So if he takes, I then win something. He then does that. I just keep on going. He does that for some reason. And I just take the pawn. Which, as you can see, the engine is not a fan of. Okay? 8-point advantage for the other guy. That is 6 positional points of an advantage. And it starts with him using the bishop out there. And I put the bishop there, and there is a forced mate in 4. The engine says, dude, you should have pushed forward the pawn, but now it's saying there's a forced mate in 4. That they did not see. They instead decided to check my king for some reason. I blocked the bishop. There's now a mate in 5. Okay. The engine is not happy with my life decisions. Probably because, after this check, my king has to step away from the defense of that bishop, and he just wins a free bishop. And, you know, if the queen and the bishop are, like, right in the face of my king, as well as the ability to bring all of his reinforcements nearby to attack my king, it means that I'm about to have a very bad day. Either way. So, he takes there, slightly wrong move over, order, that just gives me a bishop. I mean, it doesn't just give me a bishop, but it gets rid of one of the attackers on my king. So he then did the queen check there, and I was like, okay, I'm going to block with the bishop there. Just get away. He then does that check, which I then just start moving the king off to the side. He does that check. I just went, okay, weirdo. He then did a pawn check, which, thank you. But that blunders checkmate again. I did not see this at all. It probably started something like that. But for the life of me, I cannot think of how I'd proceed to do that checkmate. Because if you look here, after the queen is there, then that space is covered, that space is covered, so the king would have to go, like, right there, which, there's a pawn check, and then I have to run over there, and then you look, there's the bishop. Just, the alternative being I move forward and, you know, there are some other friends nearby that can probably start getting into the action, actually including the queen, right here. Actually, no, not right here. That would blunder a knight. But, you know, but there's some very bad plans here. But they do that check instead. Which, as you can see, does not checkmate me. So I put the king there. Which, you know, the engine at this point hates me. Which, to be fair, I don't care much for the engine either. So he does that. For some reason, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna attack this knight, which I brain fart. And I can't even like break that pin because of the queen. Either way, very fun game of chess. He does that check again. This guy just is really fond of checks. I guess that is the first step towards checkmate. But you know, he tries to get close to the checkmate, and then he does that, which it is a fork, which I actually don't really notice. So I do that. I'm like, aha, I'm pinning the queen, but he's defended. So we do a little trade here. And now I'm no longer being mated, which is nice. He does that for some reason, just like running the king away. The king is escaping. He is running away. Okay, he's just running. The other guy has got like all of his pieces out. Like that is a free pawn at this point. But more importantly, he's attacking that pawn. So I was like, aha, I'm defending the pawn. He does that attack. There's a forced checkmate again. Okay, I'm just running away. Running away. Apparently there is a better move there. Probably taking with the bishop. But I am running away. And now I have a little shield here. Which as you can see, he can't really check me effectively. So he just like, I'm going to set up for this check. As you can see, there's a 2-point advantage because I didn't castle my king, but I'd say that this should be the new way of castling. Okay, so if you know the normal castling position, you just have the king back here with the 3 pawns here, with the rook here. This is the new castling, guys. You've got the 2 pawns here. I don't care that I'm vulnerable to a bishop attack, and we got the rook there. Just new form of castling. And he, at this point, just like, oh, I can't really attack you. He's like, I'm going to try to... I forget. Oh, yeah, that. Checkmate. Except... He's defended. And I'm attacking your rook. So he did that. Which, as you can see, Blunder is a draw. I don't see this draw. It's probably by perpetual check. But I'm not super genius. I can't defend the knight because it's pinned by the queen. But what I can do is attack the queen. Because the queen is more valuable than the knight. And he moves off to the side, and as you can see, he immediately blundered the game. That is because I attack the queen. The queen cannot leave because the queen is now pinned to the king. So we do this little exchange here. The king has to run away, and I am now home free. Okay, my knight has been saved. I've just won a queen. Life is good. He's gonna like attack the pawn and stuff. No, it's my pawn. Push it forward. That I do not care. Okay, I am winning a rook. He tries to do that shenanigans. I'm like, aha. Whoop de doo doo. This is actually kind of a bit of a silly thing. So there's a mate in one here. If I just put the queen here, because as you can see, the pawns block that. You know, but I for some reason instead did it with the bishop, which is entirely dumb. I wonder if they thought that this was a stalemate. Although even then you could have taken the pawn. But yeah, just. I guess that this is sort of a bad and good game. Just, if we go back to the beginning bit here, this is an extremely satisfying process. So we have, like, the immediate blunder of the knight at the beginning, and then the repeated blunders of mate. And then my king just runs out for his dear life. Okay? I lose the rook. He does that. Okay? I'm just attacking stuff, running. Actually, this isn't running. This is me protecting the pawn. Then he does that. I'm running. And then just, my knight just swoops in to save the day. And he allows me to castle, finally. And then he blunders the queen. And then finally allows me to just do the weird checkmate instead of proper checkmate, so to speak. But whew, that was a game for certain. Just doing a quick look through here. So this is move 8, where I'm checked for the first time. Then moves 9 through 14 are all checks. Again. Oh, actually, never mind. 15 is also check. Let's see. So move 8 to 20 are all check. And then this is not check. But then the next 3 moves are all check. And then these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 more checks in this game. This is a 60-move game. I probably got checked like 20 of those moves, which means that my king ran like a little mini marathon. Absolutely crazy. Either way, hopefully you guys appreciate this little video. Just funny little thing. I'm actually considering starting live streaming soon. So, keep an eye open for that. You guys would probably give me ideas for my Man at Artifice stuff, because it's important. Either way, hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you guys around.